What's going on, guys? Big Mike, the 717 Outlaw, back with you again. We have a new range day featuring this beauty from Kriss USA. This is the Vector, and this one happens to be in 10mm. Now, I've wanted one of these guns for a while. The local gun shop had an amazing deal on one that was actually on consignment. I managed to pick it up from its previous owner, so technically this is used, although I could never really tell. Probably only had a box of ammunition fired through it. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. A lot of people know this gun here from PUBG, but I've known this gun on the market for a long time. So we're going to go ahead, do a part 1 of 2. We're going to do a first look and a field strip, and then part 2 is going to be some range time, and that'll be at a later date. Unfortunately, it is a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania, but the wind is not on my side, and I just don't want to bring horrible audio quality to a video. So, alright guys, let's go ahead and check out the Kriss Vector. Alrighty guys, so we have the Kriss Vector here in 10mm, and now, just as a couple other people might say, is why does it have a suppressor? This is actually a faux suppressor to meet barrel length regulations for a standard long rifle or a long gun. So what is known for the Kriss Vector is them to have a very low bore axis, so the barrel is actually very low in this system. It actually almost coincides with your trigger. As you can see here, the barrel runs right here, and it's pretty much in line with that trigger. Now, the thing that these are known for is the recoil system. The the bolt actually follows a curved axis and goes down inside this pretty large frame here. Bolt goes down, and it also puts a lot more downward force on the gun to reduce muzzle hop, which we'll test that out in full effect on part 2 with the range time. But these guns are known for that, for having a kind of a delayed and reduced recoil and a reduced muzzle hop. Even though they are a pistol caliber, most of them, I believe, they come in 9mm, 10mm. I think there are some in 40 and 45. But for the most part, these guns are pretty self-explanatory. They do have an upper and a lower, almost like an AR-15. And the thing that is different, which surprised me, is that it has an ambidextrous safety. As you can see here, you can hit it with your thumb on either side, but it only has a right-handed setup for your charging handle, your mag release, and your slide release. And also, going with the charging handle, is it's not this, it actually flips out, and it is a very short pull. These guns are very known for having a short action, so it can cycle extremely fast in a full auto application. This is only semi-automatic, so we will not be able to test that out, but in a rapid fire scenario, these things are able to perform very well with very little recoil. Most of these come stock with a large Picatinny rail across the top, also a small one here on the bottom. Most just come with a standard fixed sight, but this one I was lucky enough to get these nice Magpul flip ups. They're very nice, very sleek, so if I really want to, I could put a scope on this. And if not, I could also do a 45 mount and put these down on the side, and it should clear this. It should clear my safety, and it'll also give it a little bit different look to have a nice scope. These is they do have an adjustable buttstock, almost like your standard AR-15 setup. They do have a little bit different of a shape to them. They don't have a standard kind of buttstock. Now, the other thing too, going back with the other part, is this is a faux suppressor. It is just to meet barrel length regulations, and also it actually gives this thing a completely different styling. Now, if you were to SBR this, which anybody that doesn't know, that's a short barrel rifle conversion, you will get a barrel that only comes probably about 3 inches outside of this total frame. It really shortens the barrel up, so you might have some long range accuracy difficulties, but it makes this gun extremely compact. Now, you can get a folding stock on this. Unfortunately, I do not have a folding stock. All I can do is pull this pin out here and just remove the stock completely, and then it almost turns into a pistol, which I don't know the regulations behind that, so I don't want to mess with that, because rifles to pistols, sometimes the government doesn't necessarily like that. But anyway, another feature too with these is, depending on what caliber you have, they do run off of Glock magazines. Now, This being a 10 millimeter, this runs the same mag as a Glock 20, which is the 10 mil. Now this will give me a 15+1 capacity for 10 millimeter. And if I go on KrissUSA.com, I can get an extension so I can run a 30 round magazine in 10 millimeter on these. Now it is a little goofy because the magazine does stick out almost twice as long, or is twice as long as the factory. So it will look, if I can get this out with one hand, it will look almost like this with the extended magazine. But with just a 15+1 capacity, this gun is very stout. Now we're going to go ahead and dip into the breakdown and take a deeper look at this iconic recoil system. Made this very easy to take apart. So what we have are 4 identical pins, one here, 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 and here. Now what you do with these pins is go ahead, depress them. Typically I start with this one just because it seems like this one is the easiest to do. And if you want, use whatever pin you pull out as kind of a makeshift tool to depress any of the other pins. Yes, this pin here, very stiff. And as you can see, it already started to come apart. Go ahead and pull our 4th pin out. Go ahead and sit all the pins to the side. And as you can see, since this gun started to kind of take itself apart, what we can do here is go ahead and pull out this very odd yet very iconic recoil system and bolt. Go ahead and sit that off to the side. And then breaking this down even more, you have your upper assembly and your lower assembly. Main parts of this gun. We have our upper assembly, which has a very odd feature. You'll notice that the hammer is actually above the bore, which anybody that is new to guns, that is the barrel. It is a downward swinging hammer, which allows us to keep that very low bore access. And now looking at the lower is nothing fancy. It has your mag release, your slide release, and just the main firing components. Now if we take this apart, this is actually our bolt and recoil system. Now it does have a guide rod just like any other pistol essentially, but it has this very odd path that the bolt or bolt carrier group essentially is what this is, carries. It's very odd in its design, but at the same time it is pretty simple. Now you go ahead and put this back in. There is a set path that this whole system does follow. As long as I can get it in there the first time. Go ahead and lock that in. So what that does is whenever this bolt actually goes back, this whole system here goes down. So what this is doing is causing downward force or the delayed recoil and actually wanting to pull the entire gun downwards, which reduces the muzzle hop. So it makes it a very good gun for full auto applications and not high power, but rapid fire. Go ahead and do the quick assembly, which actually all you have to do is just put these 2 pieces back on top of each other and then go ahead and replace all your pins. There you go. And yes, they are a little stiff. They kind of have to be just to hold this whole system together. There we go. And the final pin. There we go. And now we have disassembled a Kriss Vector 10 millimeter. Alright guys, we're going to wrap up this video here on the Kriss Vector. Now, looking at the gun as an overall, we did look at some key features: the ambidextrous safety, the right-handed charging handle, mag release and slide release, which we're going to test this out and see if I can do this left-handed at the range and kind of get a feel for what any lefties might have an issue with this gun. And we're going to get to test out that recoil system. Like I said, the recoil system in this causes a lot of downward force, not necessarily a lot because it is a pistol caliber, but it's different than the recoil system coming straight back. This kind of comes back, but then it also drops down, so it reduces the muzzle hop, especially on, like I said before, any full auto applications, which these guns can be fully automatic. But you have to get the proper background checks, and you have to purchase the gun, which can be thousands of dollars. This didn't run me nearly that much. But anyway, like I said, I hope you liked this video. I hope that there are, I hope if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them down below, and I'll get to them in the comments down below. And if they are something that should be well known to everybody, I will try and get them in the next video and answer the questions that you guys had. But overall, very nice gun from Kriss USA. We're going to go ahead and get the range testing on the next part 2, and get to try out this awesome recoil system and to see what this beauty can do to some steel. Alright guys, as always, I hope you liked the video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, drop those comments, don't forget to subscribe, and also hit that little bell next to that for notifications on the newest videos that I will be uploading, especially part 2 of range time with this. Now, like I do in all my other videos, remember, be safe, shoot straight, have fun, and I will catch you guys at the range.